Welcome back, everyone, to episode 26 of the Illegal Formation podcast. No Joey today. He's sick. He's got the sniffles, so he can't join us and berate me and Dan for our top 10 lists. But that's all right, because as you can see in the upper left-hand corner, we have that one dude, Dan, the Eagles fan. Dan, say hi to the audience.
What's going on, everybody? That one is in the house, baby, and we back, man, for a reaction of one crazy week, you could say.
Yep. Yeah, we have our Sunday reactions, by the way, but this is also the second sort of form of reaction when you solidify after the Monday night game and you create the top 10 for our top 10 Tuesdays. So this is the week
Top
15
10
edition,
Tuesdays, baby.
and I can't wait to get into this one. We got some great topics to go over after we introduce the lists. Texans, Eagles, they're on the thumbnail. You guys can see them. But then also the NFC North is very hot. We got some disagreement on the Chargers and on the Bills and a couple other teams. So we'll get into all that. But without further ado, I say we get into these top 10 lists. Joey isn't here today, so I will just start off by just reading his off so you guys can see it. Let me hide that thumbnail real quick. You didn't see that. So Joey's top 10. He's got a new team at number 10. That's the Los Angeles Chargers taking down the Eagles on Monday night. And then at number 9, the 49ers falling 2 spots, but more so because of other teams climbing up above them. They've been there for a minute now for Joey. And then number 8, the Bears, similar situation. They lost to the Packers this week, and it was not a bad loss. So it's not reason that they're falling. It's just the Jaguars and Texans impressed Joey more. Jaguars new team number 7 for Joey after their impressive win over the Colts. Daniel Jones did tear his Achilles in that game, but the Jaguars, they didn't look bad in any sort of way in that game. So they're number 7. Number 6 in the AFC South, actually behind the Jaguars for first place. Climbing 2 spots is this Texans team as they took down the Chiefs on Sunday night. So Joey giving out some respect to Stroud in this Texans defense. Number 5, the Broncos, similar team to the Texans, staying put for him. And the whole rest of the top 5 is Packers 4, Seahawks 3, Rams 2, Patriots 1. So that's Joey's list. Dan, would you like to go next?
Of course, of course, of course.
All
So,
right, your list is on the screen.
bet. So, what I'm seeing, guys, going down 10 to 1. I'm going to get blown up for it, but I'm going to keep the birds. Going at 9, the Chargers, the Jags at 8, the Bears at 7, what's it called? The Broncos at 6, the Seahawks at 5, Texans at 4, Packers at 3, Patriots at 2, Rams at 1. I know you're dying to hear the explanation, but Scotty, I'll let you go through yours first so that we can get straight to it.
All right, yes, and I've got lots to say about each of these, but I'm going to test out my skills in reading as I get this off for you guys. So at number 10, for me, dropping 3 spots is the San Francisco 49ers. Nothing they did wrong, obviously, the bye week, but some other teams impressed me a little bit more in that vague week last week where I put them at number 7. So they're staying for me on the top 10 list, but they're not going anywhere. I don't think this team is one you want to see in the first round of the playoffs. And I don't really think any of them are in the NFC, but these crumbling teams like Eagles and Buccaneers without Evans, I think they would lose to this 49ers team that has adjusted. That's just my opinion, but maybe we'll get into that later in the show. Number 9, I got the Bears, Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson. I think will go down as one of the best coach QB marriages in recent memory. I mean, really think about it. It's not like Josh Allen or Joe Burrow or Lamar have really seemed satisfied by the fan base, by the marriage between them and their coaches. I think Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson could be really special. It was ugly early on this season, but the run game looked really good versus the Packers defense, which is going to be the heart of this Bears team and what helps Caleb grow. And he looks like one of the fastest guys on the field, Caleb, and he can still improve, as we discussed in the Packers-Bears reaction. And I'm not sure I trust the Bears defense. The takeaways they get, it's hard to keep up. It's a little Dan Quinn-ish. I'm not sure I trust it, but they can soar past this number 9 ranking if all goes right for them. Number 8, the Lions. I was wrong about them. I took them off the list, so they're new, as you can see, and I know San Francisco was on bye, but this Lions team just has all the same traits outside of that sort of Kyle Shanahan voodoo effect he has on the offense. I also think that's a Christian McCaffrey thing, and the Lions have Gibbs. So I think the difference is they're just a far more talented team than the 49ers, and they're less reliant on that Shanahan voodoo to win their games. As we saw versus the Cowboys, they were just better. You know, they were playing harder, and they're just a peg above the Bears because earlier this season, they blew them out. Now the Bears and Lions are going to play Week 18, so we get to see exactly how much better the Bears have gotten over that course of time. Number 7, we got the Buffalo Bills. I took them off. I put them back on now. It's winter time, and the Winter Soldier is here. They won't be the 1 seed, but they're playing the winner of the AFC North as long as they hold on to the top wild card spot, and that seems like a good deal to me. They got the Patriots, Browns, Eagles, and Jets to close it out. They got a good chance of locking down that 5 seed, and they will do some damage, I think, before their defense inevitably kills them. They're a flawed team. It feels like the first game that the offense fails, at the end of this regular season and in the playoffs, that is when, they're going to lose. But nonetheless, they're a dangerous team with Josh Allen, especially this time of year. And I had to put him at number 7. But number 6 is another team that has a very elite quality that will be dangerous in the playoffs and in the winter, and that is the Houston Texans. They are also new on my list. A flawed team as well, but in reverse compared to the Bills. I think with any offensive competency, CJ Stroud can do great things for you on offense, and this team is going to drag every single team it plays for the rest of the season into the deep end and see who can hold their breath for the longest, and I really like that about them. Eventually, I feel like someone is going to get the best of their offensive line, but they're only a game behind in the AFC South, and that seeding and home field advantage would help them out a lot. They've had 5 really impressive wins in a row, and the 2 losses in their 3-2 run before that 5-game win streak were to Seattle and Denver, 2 very similar defensive juggernauts that they are just a peg below or weren't quite, developed as those 2 teams were at that point in the season. Just 2 more complete versions of them. And the 3-game losing streak in the early part of the season was Rams, Jaguars, and Bucks. Man, is that a tough schedule or what? And they've prevailed going 8-5 at this point, and they're rolling. So Texans for me are number 6. I really like what I saw from them. Number 5, though, the Packers, a team I picked to win the Super Bowl this year. For me, they're staying put at 5 at this point, but I'm itching to move them back up to that Super Bowl contender tier. But I just feel the spot might be just right for them. Their pass rush may be able to make a Sam Darnold deep in the playoffs uncomfortable, but it's rare that this Green Bay team seems to put everything together. It's always one thing: Jordan Love, the injuries, the penalties, offense or defense disappears for a half. But it seems like they've got everything they need to finally change that. They've got a lot to prove this season because of that, but last week they overcame a real challenge in that Bears team. It's a tough 3-game stretch ahead with the Broncos, Bears, and Ravens, and then Vikings to finish it off. I believe they will hold the North and finish as the 2 seed. So Packers are number 5. Number 4, the Patriots. They had a bye. Spent some time thinking about Mike Vrabel's days with the Titans. I feel like we are already projecting them to that ceiling here. With that ceiling in mind, I have them at 4. Joey has them at 1. Dan, I think you have them at 2. And the possibility to rise beyond this number 4 spot to me lies in the hands of the players of the team and Drake May. It's a young, newly assembled team. Sure, anything can happen. I'm still worried they haven't been put through the ringer yet this regular season, and I think they can avoid an early exit due to the sort of psychological effects that can have on a team. And the AFC path is much more vague this year, so another reason anything can happen. But more or less, I'm putting it on hold because I'm excited to see this second.
It is kind of crazy how within a 1 or 2 year time span, Scotty, you always used to come to me being like the AFC was the powerhouse. That was the powerhouse conference. And in about how fast did that flip?
Yeah, it's been a lot of super teams building in the NFC, as that's what would always go up against those 3 elite quarterbacks in the AFC. And it seemed like, other than the Eagles and 49ers, no one was really getting it done. But now it feels like those AFC teams have regressed. And now, at least on my list, a little teaser, I guess not really, because revealing my number 3 team, the Broncos are my highest rated AFC team. That's right, I have 2 NFC teams at the top of my list, and I thought about making it 3 with the Packers. But this Broncos team has a tremendous test this week. in the Packers. So I will put them above them for now, but we'll see after that matchup. It's definitely going to be the hardest game they play yet this year. Maybe next to that healthy Eagles game and that healthy Chargers game early on. This Broncos team is on a 10-game winning streak. They should have beat the Colts early in the season when that team was firing on all cylinders, and they lost to them and the Chargers by a combined 4 points. So that's what separates them from an undefeated season, whether it's ugly or not. And their schedule isn't the worst I've ever seen, but it's a lot tougher than what the Patriots have had to go through. So I think they've learned more at this point. I think they got hot late last year, and I think they're going to do the same thing this year. And Sean Payton can finally synchronize with Bo Nix when it matters most. So little projection there, but I'm going to hold on to that for now. And then number 2. I got the Seahawks. This team is just good at everything. I've babbled on about Darnold, but they're breathing down this Rams team's neck, and they've looked the same all year, this Seahawks team. So they got the Colts, Rams, Panthers, and 49ers to finish the season. That's a tough test. They get a rematch against 2 of the teams, 2 of their 3 losses this season, and a scrappy Panthers team. So Seattle keeps rolling, and I'm going to keep them at 2. And then number 1, the Rams. There is no super team this season, but this is the closest thing to it. They got Detroit, Seattle, Atlanta, Arizona to finish off the season. 2 tough games, but they could easily be 14-3. And the number 1 seed in the NFC. Give Sean McVay and this team a bye, and it seems like an NFC championship lock for this Rams team. But they have to hold off this Seahawks team, so we will see when they face off in 2 weeks. So that is my top 10 list. Sorry if that was a little drawn out, but I wanted to make sure I got all of that out there for you guys. And now we can sort of, unless if you have any immediate thoughts, Dan, do you have any immediate thoughts about my
Off the
about
top
my
of my
list
dome,
choice?
no. I'm just
Okay.
getting ready to get these questions.
All right, yeah. So let's get into the questions this week. There's some disagreement. Just to lay it out before we get into it. Joey and Dan have the Jaguars and Chargers on their list, and I do not. I have the Bills, and Joey and Dan do not have the Bills on their list. Now, me and Joey have the 49ers, and Dan does not. And Dan has the Eagles, and me and Joey don't. So that's sort of the difference in the NFC there, and the disagreement between me and Dan. And then me and Dan both have the Rams at 1, and Joey has the Patriots at 1. So that's sort of the most disagreement that we have on these lists. But I want to start things off by talking about something that we're actually both, I think, mostly excited about, although we'll have some questions in here that I'm sure will spawn some disagreement. And that is this Texans team a Super Bowl contender? Like I said, I just feel like they're just going to drag every team they play into the depths of hell. And it's just going to be like,
With that defense.
yeah, with that defense. And then it's just like, try to stop CJ Stroud in this offense from managing like 20 to 24 points. And that's the challenge when you play this team, because they are going to just put any quarterback, like it got proven. I mean, I know the Chiefs, they're dealing with offensive line injuries and things of that nature. The
But
receivers,
Mahomes had no magic.
he didn't have. Well, he had made some of the plays, but it was like the coverage. And even when the coverage wasn't there and guys were open, you can tell they were tense.
They
because
had
were
to fight for every yard.
They were dropping passes, and I think it's because they felt like they were about to get cracked.
Literally.
Yeah. So I just feel like this Texans team is really dangerous, and it's a shame Joey's in here because I think he may have been the first person to put them on his list. But I'll throw it to you, Dan. Do you think this Texans team can be a legitimate Super Bowl contender?
No, just because I feel like for example, like seeing last year's Super Bowl, it wasn't just the defense that was on all cylinders, the offense was too. And to your point beforehand, the Texans offense doesn't really have the weapons, I feel like, to compete with all of the defenses that they're going to be seeing coming into the playoffs against the Broncos, against the Bills, against the Patriots, and so far, what's it called? And like therefore after, like I don't really see, like, while I think Stroud could put it in and get them far, or maybe even to the AFC Championship, honestly. Like, I would genuinely love to see that. But it's hard to say. I feel like a team such as like the Bills may be able to kind of have that factor of like Josh Allen, James Cook kind of combination, but it's just it's hard to say because this Texan defense, like it has a form of, like, not to be weird, but like aura, that it's like you're
It
standing
does.
across from them and you're like, there's a chance I might get injured. Like,
Yeah.
not even like, oh, like I get cracked or whatever. Like, yo, there's a chance I don't play for the rest of the season against this defense. Like,
Daniil Hunter and Will Anderson is probably the best edge duo in the NFL, I think.
I agree with that. Yeah, I'd agree with
Yeah,
that.
and that's just the start of their defense. But I'm kind of wondering why you say no, because I feel like the AFC is so vague this year. I mean, the number 1 and number 2 seed right now are teams that, I mean, the Broncos were here last year, but they got blown out in the first round. Now, we could have maybe seen this coming, but this is this absolute ceiling of what we thought would happen for them. And then the Patriots, people saw coming into the year they had an easy schedule, but they've still looked really good regardless. But there's still two teams that really haven't proven year over year that this is who they are. And I feel like the Texans almost like this is kind of who they've been building to be year over year, since CJ Stroud has gotten there and D'Amico Ryans. And I just feel like it was a rough start to the season. It was very
Hmm.
hideous. I would have said absolutely probably missing the playoffs the way they looked at the start of the season. Now it looks like they will definitely make the playoffs. And like I said, like they have a truly elite quality to them. And when it comes to the offensive line and, his surrounding cast, like weapons and
Hmm.
stuff, I feel like the weapons like could could develop into a great cast, because you had mentioned to me before the show about Jaden Higgins and the impact he's
Hmm.
starting to have. And I think Jalen Noel is super talented and can help on special
Hmm.
teams. And
Sad to say, Dalton Schultz doesn't get involved as much, and the fact that Joe Mixon is not available at
yeah,
all.
yeah. But Woody Marks,
But
Woody,
Woody Marks is performing.
Woody Marks, and
Chubb is doing what he can.
Chubb is doing what he can. He exited the last game, but I think he can come back for the playoffs. And um, also, I just want to clarify. Contender, I would say, means like you make it to the AFC Championship and you don't get like destroyed. Like the Commanders were not Super Bowl contenders last year because they got destroyed by the Eagles. But on the other hand, the Bills were Super Bowl contenders because I think if they beat the Chiefs, honestly, they probably would have a better shot at beating the Eagles. So
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
yeah, for sure.
so like maybe like a top 3 team, like maybe if neither team gets blown out, then top 4, like, and
Yeah,
you have them for is this because you just don't really have a lot of faith in like the current standings in the league right now, and you just feel like
as of
it's
right now, I'm not even gonna lie. Yeah, for me, like I feel like the one thing I look for, like the consistencies of every team, and one thing the Texans have been good at is consistently dominant
Yeah, I
on the
mean,
yeah.
yeah,
defensive
for
side of
sure.
the
So like
ball,
maybe like a
and
top
being
three
able
team,
to
like
just
maybe if neither team
like
gets blown out, then top one or
squeakily
second.
get
And you have
scores,
them, yeah.
and being
You
able to
have
find
them
the
for
end
is
zone
so
and
is this
being able to put
because you just
themselves
don't really
in
have
good
a lot of
position,
faith in like
whether or not that's the defensive side of the ball putting them in the good positions, or
Dan, I gotta ask you to repeat yourself because I started up our stream and you from 30 seconds ago started talking over yourself. If that
got you.
makes any sense, yeah. So I would just it was going on for like 12 seconds. 12 seconds of talking is a decent amount.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So back to what I was saying. Why I had them at 4 is because what I'm looking for in all these teams is consistency. And the one thing the Texans have been consistent at is their defense and the what's it called, being able to squeakily find their way into the end zone, whether that's their defense putting them in a great position to get to score, or Stroud being able to dice up with the weapons that he has to be able to get him there. But the offensive side of the ball has just not been consistent, I feel like, enough for me this year to go and sit there and be like, oh yeah, they're gonna go to the Super Bowl, no issue, no problem. Like, great that Stroud had the experience in the playoffs, but I believe the last teams that he played were the Chiefs and the Browns.
He played the
When
CJ Stroud, the
yeah,
Chiefs, or he played the Browns and then the Ravens, and then he played the Chiefs and lost first round.
yep,
So those are the playoff games he's had so far. The Browns was kind of not a layup, but it was kind of a layup, and then the Chiefs and the Ravens game at the time were clearly outmatched, I
Yeah,
would
they were
say.
clearly just completely outmatched. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
And because of that, I would hope Stroud has the experience, but again, there might just be outmatched against whoever team
Okay.
offensively.
I haven't done this a lot, but we're getting a lot of chat messages right now.
Okay.
And someone said they don't agree with your number 4 ranking of the Texans, which is all right, but he said now this is a proper list, maybe Chargers over Lions. We'll get into the Chargers, but I just want to say I don't agree with that at all. So you got to stick around and wait for us to bring that up. I see you, Mr. Fantov, and we will get to your questions if you ask them. So yeah, just so you're
Look
aware,
at you
guys.
getting into the chats.
I'm getting in the
Alrighty. See?
chat. What's up, chat? Mr. Fantov, you currently are chat right now. So you and LFG Mets base, if you know who that is, Dan,
Yeah.
our secret admirer. But yeah, continue with CJ Stroud.
I feel like if Stroud can come up with whoever's going to be playing against him, which I could see either being the Patriots or the Bills, if I'm gonna be honest with you, at this case, like I, because like listen, hot take for real, I think the Broncos are gonna be first round exits. Like the first game they play, they might lose.
Yeah, he's gonna freak. He's gonna flip, man. I think that's a Broncos helmet on his logo.
Like
Yeah.
I'm calling this right now. Like I genuinely think whoever the Broncos play that first game, if they had the bye, what's it called? They definitely gonna lose. I don't know. Like I just have that gut feeling, and I'm not gonna stick away from it. So. I just think Stroud, whoever he plays in the AFC championship, he most likely will get outmatched again,
Yeah.
depending on
Yeah.
judging on the other teams. And I feel like in a playoff setting as well, that defense has has a lot more to prove before I'm just like, okay, let's go. Because every team so far, I feel like the Texans have been playing, besides what the Colts, who had a frail Daniel Jones. Kansas City's not doing so hot. Like the Bills was a good game. You saw how
Yeah.
it was
That was
for
with
them. Like they
Davis
were
Mills too.
exactly.
Yeah. And I don't know. For me, I go back and forth. I really do because what I
Hmm.
keep coming back to is it's like, yeah, they have a clear weakness. The Bills have a clear weakness too, though. The Broncos have a clear weakness, and so do the Patriots. Theoretically, don't have a weakness, but I think you know where I'm going with that. The schedule, right? It's a lack of proof rather than a weakness. If I were to pick a weakness for the Patriots, it would still be the offensive line. They're especially with Will Campbell. But honestly, they survived the Giants, so that should mean they're good. I'm joking. But anyway, um, I don't know. I feel like with every team having a weakness, like I kind of come back to like, you know, Joe Burrow taking that Bengals team with the offensive line and the defense that was overperforming with turnovers, but he had the wide receivers. CJ Stroud has the wide receivers, I would say. He's got some running backs, and I think he's a kind of a similar quarterback to Joe Burrow. If he can really be his best when it comes to managing the clock and all that kind of stuff, and the offensive line, like, yeah, it's gonna hinge on that. But if they can just have 4 or 5 sacks and not like 8, I think he'll be good. Like I think he could compete with every team in the AFC just because of that defense, really. But yeah. So as far as the Texans go, it's tough to say just because it's tough to say it. I think about any of these AFC teams right now. But maybe this is a little bit easier to kind of make sense of, and that's Jaguars or Texans for the AFC South. Joey has the Texans above the Jaguars. You have the Texans above the Jaguars, and so do I. So what I want to ask you is, who do you think is going to go further in the playoffs, considering the weaknesses both these teams seem to have? Because I think
Oh, the
with
Texans easily. I think even though the Jags and the Texans have us like a stout defenses, I just think that um all the Jaguars have what Myers and
Jacoby and
ETN.
well, they have BTJ. He's kind of cooking now. He's kind of
I
back.
mean, yeah, he's trying to figure it out now, but like I feel like it's like I don't want to say it's like too late in the season, but like when you get your rhythm, I feel like you need to like how do I say playoffs come around, different kind of football, and in that kind of football, it's the type of consistency throughout the season that you if you had it or you didn't have it, it's going to show in the playoffs. And it's moments like that where I think key moments where they're going to need BTJ, he might not be there.
Yeah.
And Jacoby Myers has been more productive in way less games than BTJ was doing on the Jaguars. And beforehand, he was previously on the Raiders. So it's like you could see, like, I don't want to be like, oh, there's a talent difference by like a mile, but I would say definitely Myers having the experience is able to kind of get him understanding this offense a lot more. But once you kind of stop Myers, you have what Washington, maybe 210, maybe Brett Strange, but I feel like there's a lot more. I trust the younger guys and the rookies on the Texans more than I do the Jags.
Okay. I get what you mean. I think also Trevor Lawrence. I know you're a Clemson fan, but
Yeah, I'm never gonna hate on T-Law. I think
but
T-Law is a fantastic quarterback.
I don't think he's fantastic. I think you're holding on.
You put T if you put T Law on a solid like if you put T Law on the Texans right now,
They would suck.
that
I'm
is such a
telling you
bad
now.
take.
I think Stroud is definitely better than T Law. I feel that way for sure.
That is just like such a crazy take. I feel like
I
I
don't
feel
think
like
I
T
don't
Law.
think you can say it's crazy. I think we can start by saying, it's you can question, who's better. But I mean, in reality, Stroud's been not in a much better because you're talking about situations for winning, it's one thing, but when you're talking about like what makes the guy look good, it's offensive structure. I would say T Law, with the exception of like the first year, has kind of grown into having a better offensive structure over time. Whereas recently Stroud's has been like diminishing until like this win streak, and when he came back, um, it's an interesting question. They're both in the same division, but if I rank the quarterbacks in that division, he'd be at the top, and I would expect if the Titans aren't the worst team in football, that eventually Cam Ward can push Trevor Lawrence for that number 2 spot and maybe even number 1. But um, I guess I want to redirect it. I want to redirect this to another team because obviously we all have the Texans above the Jaguars, but I don't have them on my list, the Jaguars. But who I do have on my list is the Bills. Neither of you two have the Bills on your list. So,
Yeah.
who would go further in the playoffs? The Jaguars or the Bills this year?
So, right, initial gut feeling, right? If I just went like, oh, quick answer, I would say Bills because of experience, because they've been there numerous times, because it's the winter time. All these things play into it. I'm not even gonna lie, like honestly. But I'm not gonna lie, when I saw Keon Coleman was a healthy scratch and seeing this dude get active on podcasts and all these things, like all these things in between. It's like that's your number one, and then Shakir took your number one spot, and now you're basically the two. It's just like the team's falling apart. James Cook has been fumbling more. Like Josh Allen, yeah, he'll have these games where he just soars up high, but it's games where, like, for example, this was crazy, right? This theoretically should be the season that Josh Allen goes to the Super Bowl. Why? Because Mahomes ain't going to be in the playoffs, and Burrow's not going to be in the playoffs
Right.
and
It
most likely
sh-
Lamar is not going to be in the playoffs. So it's like theoretically this should be the year that Josh Allen goes to the Super Bowl. But what does Josh Allen do great at? Regular season against these guys, he absolutely will sauce and find a way to always win. In the playoffs, he always chokes against those guys. And then what happens in the regular season? He sells to people like Tua, to people like like to like all these teams that they should be beating. But guess what? They got smacked by the Texans, smacked by the Falcons, caught lacking by the Dolphins. And now you're gonna go to the playoffs against a lot of these similar base kind of teams.
okay. I understand your point, but I got to spin. I got to spin on this.
Of course.
And that's the fact that yes, he's lost to these bad teams this year. I agree. It's the reason we all had them off the list like the past 2 weeks, and I'm only now putting them back on. But in reality, Josh Allen has only lost playoff games to Patrick Mahomes and Joe Burrow. He lost that first round game at home against the Bengals. That second time they went to the AFC Championship, I'm pretty sure, is when that game happened, when the Bengals went. They lost that game at home, and all the other four we all know very well. It's been to Patrick Mahomes and those Chiefs. And I feel looks usually in those playoff races that they actually look like the better team on the field than whoever they're playing until they get to that Chiefs game. It looks like they're going to go to the Super Bowl. So I think just the fact that this Chiefs team is like 99% chance going to be off their back. This Bengals team is not going to be in there. He will be the best quarterback in the AFC playoffs for sure by a long
100%.
shot. And that's got to go a long way, especially when you consider that they've had inconsistencies running the ball, but that's what they do. And they control the clock. And then the defense, yeah, that's what I'm worried about personally.
That's what I'm stressed
But
about.
it's kind of like you look at these AFC playoffs, and it's the Patriots who, they have an offense that could maybe expose that. But then you got the Broncos, the Texans, the Jaguars, teams that maybe the Jaguars are a little different, but at least for the Texans and Broncos, I think the most immediate threats, they're defensive teams. Their offenses struggle, and I think actually that Bills defense, sometimes it's really good, and it's usually in those games. I think this is, like you said, it could be like just Josh Allen's year to go through the playoffs and just be the best player on that entire side of the bracket. And so they just get through. It's possible. Just because like all these other teams, of course, they have a chance. But they're going to eat each other alive. And Josh Allen's used to that at this point. So I just feel like when I saw that both of you and Joey put the Jaguars on the list so quickly, maybe not quickly. They've been good this year. They have. And but to take the Bills off as quickly as we all did, I mean, we were sick of them. They deserved it. But I think in this game versus the Bengals, I mean, it was snowing. And it was just showing how the Bills' offense was almost better in the snow. That throw Allen made to Shakir in the scramble drill was like unreal. And obviously the 40-yard touchdown run, say what you will about the Bengals defense and running what looked like man coverage with no QB spy on Josh Allen, but it's his job to hurt you for that, and he did. Exactly, and how many 40-yard QB rushing touchdowns have we seen? I think the last one was Joe Burrow when the Giants ran man coverage with no QB spy.
I'm not even gonna lie. I was gonna say Justin Fields, but yeah, you might be right about that.
Yeah, it might be some guy like that. But yeah, that's kind of my point about this Bills team. Is it's like I feel like everything I was saying about the Chiefs, I really probably should have been saying about this Bills team because they also did beat the Chiefs at their own game, and they are more talented, I would say. Offensive line is healthy. Chiefs are banged up on the line right now. Maybe this Bills offensive line can do okay versus Josh Allen, and not for nothing, he's good at breaking sacks. So, and Derek Stingley is human. He can't cover for 12 seconds in scramble drill. Nobody can. So, I just feel like other quarterbacks extend the play and stuff like Stroud and Bo Nix and Drake May, obviously. But, yeah, I just think the Bills are really interesting. So out of the AFC playoffs, we just went through the Texans, Jaguars, and Bills. For me, I think the Bills make it the furthest, the Texans make it the second furthest, and the Jaguars make it the third furthest. That's my take. Is there anything you would change about that?
Probably flip the Texans and the Bills, but sure.
Fair enough. All right. So that's everything on Texans, Jaguars, Bills, AFC games on those fronts. Let's flip over to the NFC, our conference.
Yes.
We love this conference. It's the AFC guy. It was boring for a long time. It was just wash, rinse, repeat. We knew that couldn't last forever. It finally broke
for sure
this year, but so it's kind of more interesting now. But this NFC is always an interesting time.
Always an interesting pot.
Yeah, and most interestingly, to me, I'm not a Bills fan, I'm a Giants fan. The Eagles played the Chargers on Monday night, and it just might have been the worst quarterbacked game of maybe the
I
past
think it's
five
just the
years.
worst offensive showdown I've ever seen in my actual life watching football.
Jalen Hurts turned the ball over twice on one play, throwing an interception. The guy fumbled it. He picked it up, and it got punched out. That hasn't happened since 1978. And yes, that was not the only play where there were turnovers. He had 5 on the day. Now, that's not what he does, but I think part of his play style is a reason that when things fall apart,
I think
they
things
really fall
changed to
apart.
that game. And let me get to that point too. So what I liked was that he was not conservative. What have I always been complaining about is that he does not make the throws immediate. He's always hesitant. He's always waiting. He's always thinking about, is he really gonna be open? In this game, he really was just gun hoeing. I'm talking about just whipping it, whipping it, whipping it. And hey, there were plays that I was proud. AJ Brown went on the media and said, "No, he gave me good balls. I always come down with them, and I didn't. I gotta be better next time." So it's like, well, everyone's gonna dog Hurts and be like, "Yo, that was a bad throw. That was this or whatever." The throw to the end zone, that was on the money. AJ couldn't come down with it. You know what I mean? What's it called? The one where he threw it above his head a little bit. AJ's made that catch numerous times. And of course, yes, that was like a bad situation because I would not think you would throw it to the guy in the middle between two guys. But like it got tipped up, intercepted. Like, um, so I think out of the 5 turnovers, 3 of them were tipped. So it's like, how do I look at it overall? Um, the birds, while I feel like, which is it's funny, my title is do we start hitting the panic button? But I just say this for all Birds fans genuinely, right? It's like, and to the media especially, because this is one thing, Scotty, right? I can't stand the Philly media. I'm talking about these dudes just be like pulling shit out their ass and talking crazy just to stir up pot. And I don't know what it is about the Philly organization, but it shit like lights me up personally. It's like let the Birds cook, let them figure it out within the house, within the organization. Stop talking crazy. Believe in them for a second, okay? And then stop going and being like, what's the next move? What's the next move? Guess what? They'll show us the next move on Sunday. Because in reality, if we lose to the Raiders, we're cooked, chat. That's it. Like that we know we're not going far in the playoffs and all that ish in between. But the last competition we have is the Bills. So it's like until that Bills game, I don't want to hear nobody talking crazy about them. Like, and that's a fact. But back to the game, Scotty, because I had to get that off my chest.
You're saying
Over,
you don't want people hopping on the Eagles until they play the Bills?
I don't want them hopping. I don't want them like ish talking or anything like that because in reality, right? Things are trying to develop and things are trying to start. We're trying to get motion in how the Birds are playing, right? There were big explosive plays that we would have, and then guess what? Tipped interception, like or
I want to say about the interceptions, I know for a fact I saw him throw 2 directly to someone over the middle of the field. At least 2.
two of them
The,
directly.
the one he threw at the end of the game was a tipped one. It was a tight window. It happens sometimes when you do that. I mean, if you watch the is Jalen Hurts overrated or overhated video, you might have learned that he does not have a elite arm when it comes to strength, and maybe a Josh Allen would have fitted in there. But I understand that one isn't nearly as bad. But when you only need a field goal to continue the game, is that a bad decision? I don't know. It looked like it was the right read and all that. It was just, was he a little late? But when it comes to, we cannot come away from this game and excuse Jalen Hurts in any way.
No, I agree. You really got to straight up dog him, 100%. I fully will agree with that. of course, he deserves the responsibility for 5 interceptions or for 5 turnover, 5 interceptions. Like
Or yeah, it
for
was
sure,
4 picks, and I think the fumble was
4 picks
like
and a
yeah,
fumble. Yeah, about five
yeah,
turnovers.
yeah.
Like full responsibility for about 4 or 5 plays. I saw that this dude had a wide open Dallas Goedert or what's it called, Devontae Smith coming across the field. All these things in between, but it's like late reads, not figuring it out, not seeing it, and that's where I'm like low key just getting agitated because everyone wants to bring it up, and I just did right now, of course, but we got to get to a point where it's like, okay, we sit the facts, and it's like, stop setting the standard. You know why there's a standard? Of course, you're Super Bowl champs. You know what I'm saying? But when the Rams won, and then they were off, they had a hard time. Not a lot of people came back. All that stuff in between. He was still Matthew Stafford. Guess what? The Bills came in the following season and absolutely ran their shit.
He was hurt going into the season. I think that was that year, was it not?
I believe so. But still, and then Stafford
The
waited however
Bills,
many
the
years
Bills
to
were
get that.
gross. They poached Von Miller from that Rams team.
Yeah, from the Broncos, right?
No, from the Rams. He won that Super Bowl on the Rams and then went
Oh,
to the
you're right.
Bills.
You're right.
hmm And he crushed. They destroyed the Rams offense. It was unreal.
It was kind of crazy work. I remember we watched that game together.
Yeah.
Um, but that's what I'm getting at. It's just like there's still like we're still in it. We're still there. It's just about, can we actually like give it 2 seconds to like ferment, to settle, to like actually start rolling. And I feel like these games here, it's like I'm don't they shouldn't look at them as like easy pick'ems. Like, oh, we're playing the Raiders, we shouldn't try so hard.
Yeah. If
This
you
is the
guys
game where it's like,
lose any of those 3 games besides the Bills game, like unbelievable.
yeah,
Truly.
like for real, 100%.
Two of the
Those
three
games we
worst
should be
teams in
winning by
football.
40.
Seriously though, and it sounds unimaginable, does it not? I mean, this Commanders team without Jaden Daniels went to OT, or basically OT with the
The
Broncos.
Broncos.
This Raiders team did the same thing to, who was it? The Chargers.
Yeah, to the Chargers going to,
Yeah,
yeah.
or it was the Jaguars. They went to overtime with the Jaguars.
Yeah.
It's in there for those teams. I wouldn't say they're quite the Titans or the Browns.
That's the thing that stresses me out because while it's the Seahawks, Pete Carroll's always figured what to do against the Eagles all the time.
He sucks this year though. He's so
But
bad.
he is not the same guy.
If 70 whatever year old Pete Carroll is figuring you out, you got problem. If that's a threat, no. Okay, I gotta frame you a question after, because that was sort of like a recap, right? That was sort of like a
Yeah.
recap of the Monday night game. Now let's zoom out. I gotta ask you. Lane Johnson is supposed to return this week, and I have said that's the root issue. But I sort of feel like it might be too late. He might be coming back, but who's to say other players on this team won't get injured? This team seems to go back and forth with
Well,
these
Dickerson
injuries.
right now is still hurt. I know.
Yeah,
Cam
Carter
Jurgens right now.
missed the last game, and he's missed a couple this year. What if he
Yep.
misses one in the playoffs? Because you guys let up 160 plus rushing yards to this Chargers team that has a horrible offensive line. And only missing Carter, you guys couldn't stop Hampton, Vidal, and even Justin Herbert from scrambling. And I just want to know, are we watching an Eagles full collapse right now, or is Lane Johnson going to fix this?
Lane Johnson, I think, is part of the answer. I just also think there is. I think personally, Jalen shook, and I'm not even gonna lie. I think it's more of a confidence thing within the team. I think, or more like I feel from what I'm seeing, it's one of those things where you play, you won the Super Bowl, now you're asking yourself, why are we not doing the same thing? We're not the same team. Are we not performing? It's like they still are that
Who
team.
are
They're
we?
still, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like it's just like it's one of those questions. It's like, what is your like our identity kind of thing? So it's like, while Lane Johnson's there, you have the run game back. Now, can they get a couple big runs, establish that, oh shit, we are like that, get that confidence back before the playoffs? That's all these games are for now. It's just getting confidence again.
Right. You gotta beat these teams really good. You got to beat the shit out of them. It's what you should be doing.
Yeah.
So you think it sounds like you think it is a collapse. It does. And I know you're a fan. Obviously, you would know best, but also you would be someone who would possibly dig their heels in and sort of try to deny it.
I think the foundation is cracking, and everybody's still trying to everybody's trying to fix the pillars that hold the place up, but they don't realize the foundation underneath is cracking.
Nobody wants to say the word 2023 in Philadelphia is like blasphemy right now. Like, nobody wants to talk about how similar this feels to 2023. The Eagles.
That's why I say, like, we lose to the Raiders or the Commanders, it's gonna remind me of when we were at MetLife.
Yeah.
And how we lost to the Giants that way.
We were at that game, and I saw the look on your face was, what's going on?
What just happened here?
And this Eagles team, it's kind of a similar path. They're 6-2. They go into the bye week. They beat a lot of good teams early in the season, and the offense was putting up no less than 20 points a week, and it put up 30 four times. Pretty impressive. One of those times was against the Rams and the Bucks. Now let's look at where we are now. They come off the bye and they score combined 26 points against the Packers and Lions, and they win both those games because of their defense. But then the Dallas comeback, the Bears embarrassment, and then the Chargers, a game Eagles really should have won this game. Chargers turned the ball over like 3 or 4 times also. So there was many opportunities for this Eagles offense, and this is like how struggling it was. And you're right, they should build confidence through these games. But I think even if you go 3-1, but you get destroyed by the Bills, it also hurts your confidence because you guys are going, damn, that's a playoff team or a team we're going to have to play in the Super Bowl. And they kicked our ass, and I feel like that's coming. And I just feel like even with Lane Johnson back, like this is the avenue for the Eagles, I think, to get back to who they were earlier this season.
And it's at Buffalo too, bro. That shit's ass.
Yeah, Hurts throwing the way he looked against this Chargers team, against that defense at their stadium, I don't like it. I don't like it one bit. Take the alternate spread. But this is my point as to what the Eagles can do and what can change that can change the entire team from this Lane Johnson thing. I think a lot of what we see Hurts struggle with is those throws over the middle of the field. Like, we all know this. I won't beat a dead horse there, but what sets that up is it not being 3rd and 8, it not being 3rd and 9, or only having to do that 2 or 3 times in a game. But it felt like with this Eagles team, outside of that 56-yard touchdown run for Saquon, it feels like the Eagles get a lot of negative run plays behind this offensive line. And
I agree.
I think Hurts is a much better quarterback than what we saw against this Chargers team. Saquon still had 120 rushing yards, but like I said, how many of those were going backwards, right? Because if you go, I would rather, there's 2 ways you can get 6 yards. You can go forward twice, 3 times, or forward 3 yards twice, right? Or you can go 9 yards and you can go back 3. I want the guy who's going to go 3, 3, 3. Saquon, I felt like was doing that last year. He had a good feel of when to bounce it. This year, with the issues with the O-line, and maybe some regression from him after that long season.
He's low-key hesitant to bounce outside because I saw when he was running, and I think it was Troy Aikman that explained, he's like, man, if Saquon had that bounce that he had last year where he realized, oh shoot, wait, that hole closed, and instead of just running through it, you bounce to the outside. It was him and the safety, and that's all it was.
He was fluid again with the blocking. It was like he didn't even choose to go that way. He was just that he bounced the second that hole was gone, and he was there in an instant because he's Saquon. And that's what we saw on that tush push. By the way, that was a creative play. I wonder why you guys haven't done this yet. This whole fake the tush push and then pitch it to the best running back in the league. Seemed like a good idea. I definitely wasn't the first person to think about that, but I was like, I couldn't believe I thought about that before they did it. But regardless, to finish my point, if Saquon Barkley can start reading the holes better. Lane Johnson can shore up this offensive line. Dickerson can come back. If this Eagles team can get 4-yard runs out of Saquon 80% of the time for the rest of the season, they will go like somewhere to the deep in the divisional round and take a team into the deep end or go to the NFC Championship. And possibly, with the defense still looks pretty good, although they can't stop the run without Carter. I think,
I just think the defense was out there for so freaking long, bro. Like it was just, I'd be exhausted
30
playing as much defense.
Yeah, it was like 39 minutes to like 21, and you guys both had a bunch of turnovers. So it just shows you how often the Eagles were just going 3 and out and doing exactly what I just described with like Saquon. Maybe a nice run on first down, and then -2. Now it's 3rd and 7. And how do we feel about
like
this passing
bad
game?
Positioning.
Yeah, like just not gonna happen. And I could even read it to you right now. 6 plays, 9 plays, 3 plays, 7 plays, 2 plays, 11 plays, field goal, 2 plays, missed field goal, 5, 3, 2, 3, 8.
That missed field goal really sealed it for me. I'm not even gonna lie to you.
Yeah, it's just you have like one drive go for more than like 10 plays. It's like your offense is either scoring really fast or it's not doing very well. So and I just laid out how I think this can help. I just feel like it's just falling apart. It's you put one piece in, something else is going to fall out next week. Something else is going to go wrong. This offensive coordinator situation isn't great either. And I don't think the meld between him and Hurts is there. Kellen Moore and Shane Steichen had it figured out with him. And they were able to press the buttons at the right time to take what is a predictable offense, to be honest, and make it complicated. Make it a pain in the ass. And I think, in that throw to AJ at the end of the game, not for nothing, I think the corner had his arm in there. AJ strong, he should come down with it. But it was just like, they knew that was going to happen. They were ready for it. They're ready. People are ready for everything the Eagles are going to do. And the Eagles can't be figuring things out when everyone knows what they're going to do. It's just, I don't think it's going to bode well. I teased that I think the 49ers could like face a team like this or the Buccaneers and just upset them in the first round. That's kind of how I've envisioned the rest of this Eagles season. And then Dan, do you have any extending thoughts, or do you want to move on to the next question?
As far as the birds go, I just, like I said, if the confidence or if an L happens between either of the Commanders games or the Vegas games, it's like, what are we going to the playoffs for? I guess is going to be my question, really. It's a great thing to be in the playoffs, to be like, yes, we won the division, cool. Like, but in reality, it's just like, I trust Howie 24/7. So wherever we're in the draft, I know we're going to get something valuable. We're going to get something useful to benefit the team. I just think that it's just really it's going to kill something. And I feel like if we go through another 2023 kind of loss in the first round, like there's going to be people leaving.
I think the city of Philadelphia is going to turn on Jalen Hurts if they see a 2023 again. It might not be at the end. It might not be next year, but it's just going to put the nail in the coffin because people are going to say, if we're not good enough to win the Super Bowl, we get blown out in the first round. And he looks bad in those games. So people are going to turn on him, I think. It's going to cause drama. We'll see. He's the type of guy to handle it. It's up to him to figure things out and be, prepared if things go wrong this season, to be ready next year. And it's on Howie, like you said, to make the necessary changes because things are getting feel.
And how we trust 24/7 all day, every day.
Yeah. And what happened after 2023? The Eagles went on to win the Super Bowl. So,
yep.
Yeah.
That's why I say I feel like the years that Hurts gets attention, it just goes bad for him. It's like I would rather people just like the sports media, not the Philly media, the sports media, dog him, like go crazy. Oh, he's not this. Oh, he's not that. We can't do this. Cause that picture when he was walking down the hallway and he was like, I knew we won. I
You could
knew we were
tell. You
winning.
could tell that shit pisses him off to the
He's
core.
just like, I bet. Like, yo, at that
Yeah.
moment, I was like, we're winning the
Like he
Super
doesn't
Bowl. I didn't
really.
know the score, but I was like, it was that
Yeah.
feeling of just like, I'm not fucking up this game. Like,
Yeah. It's the feel. It's that you can see when someone is 100% confident. He knew he was going to win
mhm.
that game. I think. I think he knew he was going to beat that Chiefs team. I think he didn't know the first time around. I think he knew he was going to
Yeah,
win.
he was like, oh
Yeah.
shit, I made it.
Yeah. And then, um, just to wrap up, Eagles.
Mhm.
Since we did talk about the Chargers, you and Joey have them. I don't, and they are on both of your lists as a new team. So I must assume that's because of this Eagles game. Is that why you put them on your list? Because I
Well,
have
yeah, because I think I'm not even gonna
reservations.
lie. That Chargers team, regardless, like for me, right? Like, regardless of who you play, you like lose the ball 3, 4 times, right? And you can still squeeze it out. I think that's extremely impressive. You know what I mean? I'm not impressed, like to go to your Bills point, whatever. I'm not impressed that you get diced up by like the Bengals. Mind you, it's the offense, of course, that dices you up, but then you're struggling against the Bengals defense in your home field in the snow, and then you're like you break for a 40-yard run, and then you get a touchdown, and you come back, and then you beat the Bengals. It's like I told you, they should not have been in that situation. And far in terms of the Chargers are mangled with injuries, and they're actually two most important injuries being their tackles, and they turned the ball over however many times and still was able to come out with the win. Like,
Well, I guess I don't know. I went into this Eagles Chargers game and I feel like I kind of nailed the forecast. I'm feeling a little proud of myself because I could pull up the notes exactly, but I'm just going to say, like, from my recollection, I said these two teams were falling apart, this Eagles team and this Chargers team. And that, you know, Hurts and the offense, we already just went over all that. And then the Chargers and Justin Herbert, like I mentioned, they did not have a good game on offense either. They barely won this game. They could have lost this game because their offense couldn't score a touchdown in overtime if the Eagles just, didn't throw that very last pass or I realized the time of possession is 38 because of overtime too. But the Eagles didn't throw that pass. They could have easily either just kicked the field goal, extended the overtime, or even scored. It was very close, and the offense would have been the reason they lost because you look at the team stats and you realize, yeah, the Eagles had 5 turnovers, but the Chargers had 3, and they were all ugly ones. They were like fumbles by Justin Herbert. 2 of them, he had an interception. It was just an ugly game. Well, actually, no, he had 1 fumble and 1 interception. That other fumble is from the defensive player on the Chargers who fumbled it back to
yep,
Jalen Hurts, who then fumbled it again. This game was a horrible game. This didn't look like 2 playoff teams to
this was
me.
bad. It was just overall bad football.
Yeah, and I understand that the Chargers are 9-4 and the Eagles are 8-5. Okay, I don't care. I don't care about the wins they accumulated from 2 months ago. All that stuff matters for is seeding and are they going to get home field advantage. Yes, I'm going to think about it, but who you are in the NFL season once we get to this point is
Mhm.
more so who were you the past month, and have you been the same team the past month? Have you suffered injuries? Right? Did you make some kind of change in the play calling or anything like that? That's what it comes down to me is who are you the 4 weeks before the playoffs, the 4 weeks throughout the playoffs, as you approach the Super Bowl. You can kind of look back at the entire season to see like, okay, what's every single detail about the team. But I think the most effective way to forecast a team at this point in the season is really just look at who they've been the past couple weeks. And the Eagles have not been good. They're on a 3-game losing streak, and the Chargers, it's like they they have some wins, but I'm just not really that convinced by beating the Raiders. They got destroyed by Jacksonville. They had a bye week, and before that they beat Pittsburgh, and I think Joe Alt got hurt in it was either that game or the Titans game. Um, I don't know, man. I just don't really like anything about this Chargers team. What are they good at? I mean, they're not going to get all those rushing yards against this Eagles team if they have Jalen Carter, and that's the kind of defenses you're going to see in this AFC playoffs. Is not that version of the Eagles defense, and
Yeah,
they mustered 19 points in the regulation. They mustered 22 points in 38 minutes.
Yeah.
Including the time of possession they had in overtime. I think the whole league is very
So you're
vague right
expecting them
now.
first round bye,
I'm
first round exit.
I'm
My fault.
expecting them first round exit. I'm expecting the Eagles first round exit. So I just don't put them on the list because playoff teams are 1 through 14. So like they would definitely be top 14. Same with the Jaguars. Same with who else am I missing on my list from you guys? Whatever, you understand what I mean. Like those are the teams I'm expecting to lose, and
The
then
Colts.
the Colts. I don't even have no. They're in a different category. Their quarterback is out, so they're like a totally new team. They're a bottom 10 team based on what we just saw against the Jaguars. So it's gonna get really ugly for them, and they could even miss the playoffs. This is gonna help out the Texans and the Jaguars, but
100%.
yeah, I don't know. I'm just not really convinced by either of these teams, and I just kind of wanted to gloat about how I said this was gonna be a battle of who wants to lose, and it actually couldn't have been more that. Sorry, Danny. Maybe that was a little abrasive, but anyway, let's move on to a more fun, less hostile conversation. Even though you and me keep it pretty chill, you know.
For the most part, it's
Joey,
until Joey gets in
Joey
here.
brings it out of us. He really
Yeah.
does. But anyway, I want to play sort of a game. I want to say, plant your flag on the NFC North race. I came up with that title. I know, very creative, very good. And it is very simple. Pick the Bears, Packers, Lions, place in the division, and how far they go in the playoffs. I want you to describe to me how you think they are going to win the Super Bowl, or what point in the playoffs they're going to lose, and maybe even who you think they're going to lose to. So I can even pull up the playoff bracket off on the side just so we have it. And if you want to ask me any questions, if you don't have that up already, I can answer you quickly. So plant your flag on the NFC North rest of season.
So NFC North right now, Packers 9-3-1. What's it called? The Bears going 9-4. The Lions 8-5. My apologies. You honest getting
You're all good.
lay up in your chat.
Yeah.
But how I'm looking at it, right? It's the Bears and the Packers have to play one more time. So in this case right now, if the Lions say they win out, they're going to be tied with the Bears. And if I'm correct, the Lions have beaten the Bears one time or both times.
They haven't played the second game yet. That's coming later in the season.
But the Lions destroyed them the first time.
They destroyed them. It was bad.
Yeah.
It was very bad.
So it's like, I believe right now because of that, they will be ahead. So there's the possibility that the Bears don't make it. If I'm correct.
Oh, I just Dan, I changed the Discord, the layout so that I'm
mess out of my mic.
so that I'm filling up the whole screen right now. I really wonder what the stream looks like right now. Oh, it hasn't updated yet. Oh, that's not even that bad, but I gotta fix it for the audience. I gotta get you back on.
I bet.
I'm kind of asking you for help, by the way. There we go. I got it. Never mind. I don't need your help.
So as I was saying,
continue.
The Packers got to go up against the Lions and the Bears one more time.
I could read their schedule.
Huh?
I could read all three of their schedules if you want.
Hit me with it.
All right. So Packers finish off the season: Broncos, Bears, Ravens, and then Vikings. So finish it off easy, but I think
I put money on they'll lose 2 of those games.
Yeah,
next
they could lose 2 of those games. The Lions, Rams, Steelers, 9, and then the Bears.
Not 9.
Not 9. They did they beat the Lions?
The Vikings.
Yeah,
beat the Lions
they beat the Lions. Yeah, 9 is legit. No, he's not.
Go home.
Yeah. We'll come back. Yeah. He's not it this year, maybe.
And then the Bears?
And the Bears. The Bears schedule. They finish it off with Cleveland, the Packers, the 49ers, and the Lions. That's brutal. That is easily the worst schedule.
So to me, the Packers, of course, have the easiest. So reality, right? This is where I say, if the Packers do not dominate and plant the flag, like the Super Bowl chances for me get thrown out the window because those teams you have in the playoffs are just not. They're just not the same caliber. I feel like you know what I mean. They're not of like the Broncos. That's probably gonna be a close one.
That's going to be the best game this week.
You know what I mean? That's gonna be a
Yeah.
close one. But I feel like the Packers will have that number. They'll be good. They'll be solid. No problem. It's that second Bears game that has me right now. That I feel like in that kind of situation, they're gonna split in the absolute like they should not be splitting against that. And then for some reason, the Ravens, I feel like will shock them.
It's a Saturday primetime game. Ravens typically good against NFC opponents. This year they look like ass. I'm not sure if they can keep up with the Packers' talent. You know, with the way their defense looks, I don't know that I can see a functioning Ravens offense versus that unit. If they shock them, it's going to be from the defense forcing like 3 like Jordan Love moments where he.
And that's kind
like,
of what I'm looking for.
yeah.
Is more of like a Jordan Love error rather than the Packers defensive error.
Or just a disappearing side of the ball for one half. I get what you're saying, but you're kind of saying if they don't do this, I don't believe they're Super Bowl contenders. Let's say, what do you think the Packers' record is going to be? The Lions and the Bears. Don't think too hard about it. Just kind of spit it out because you have a general idea of what the games are.
Yeah, so I'm going what 11, 5 and 1. I'm going what's it called? Packers are probably gonna go
You said 11, 5 and 1.
11, 5 and 1, yeah. So
What about the
then
Lions?
I could see what's it called? Bears going 12 and 5. And I could low key see the Lions going like 10 and 7, 10 and 6.
Yeah, so they'd split the rest of the season. The Bears
Yeah.
going 12 and 5 would be pretty crazy with this rest of season schedule. Packers, 49ers, Lions. They would have to beat 2 of those opponents. I think they can. Actually, there's no reason to say that can't happen. There's no reason to say that none of these teams can't win 3 of one of these last couple games. But so that puts you at the Bears, the Packers a half game behind, and then the Lions a game.
That tie
and a half
really
behind.
does something, yo.
It kind of helps, almost. I'd rather tie than lose.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, so that would be your placement. So I think the Lions would get into the playoffs at 10 and 7. I believe they would. So if they're the 7th seed, they would play the Bears round 1, most likely. Yeah, they would play the Bears. The Lions. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, the Lions would play the Bears. The Packers would get like the 49ers. I think they can win that game. I think it would be really close. We've seen those 2 teams play. What do you think?
Packers and Niners, listen, we know the history of what Shanahan does to the Packers for some reason.
Yeah. Matt LaFleur
So-
specifically.
So why go and say like we'll be like a coach's BTA kind of moment? I'm not gonna lie, like, because he did it both in San Fran and in Green Bay.
Yeah.
It
Sounds-
just don't matter.
Sounds like the Niners should be a top 10 team. How about that?
I mean, like, still, like at the end of the day, regardless, I don't know what's about the Niners right now. That I just feel like with their defense, Warner being out, Bosa being out,
Yeah,
that alone,
they have a ceiling that they will not hit.
yeah.
Yeah. I agree. I think they're going to get someone here though. So you're saying they beat the Packers. What about the Lions-Bears game? That's tough.
Depends on who's home.
It would be at Chicago.
Yo, listen. I know you said beforehand, oh, golf in the cold, yada yada yada. He sucked in Philly.
Yeah.
Like, and it's gonna be
Oh yeah, you're
quick.
right. Yep. If he's
In
in a
Chicago.
dome, I think you're right. I think you hit the money on the head. If the Lions can get home field advantage, that's how they're going to succeed this year's playoffs. I think if they don't, it's going to just be ugly. Because they've been
I
like
know
the 1 or
before
2
you're like,
seed.
oh, like
Yeah.
they're professionals, they should be okay. Like, it shows golf sucks in the winter cold.
Yeah, he does. So you take the Bears there.
I'll take the Bears.
So there you have it. The Bears would be the only team in the NFC North to make it to the divisional round, as they would kind of eat each other alive. Do you think they'd go far? I'm not going to project past this of like the other teams. Just like let's just assume it's, like Rams, Seahawks.
So the Bucks would probably play
49ers.
the Eagles.
Or it would be 49ers, Seahawks, Rams, Bears. So they would play the.
Oh shit! So that means they have to play the Seahawks.
I think it ends there. I'm not
That's
gonna lie.
probably where it ends,
Yeah. All right. So you have the Bears getting into the divisional round. And honestly, I feel like this division, it looks like some of them can be really, really great Super Bowl contenders. It just doesn't ever materialize really. I think that's kind of the story of this division. So how'd you like playing the game, Dan? Do you like planting your flag on the NFC North potential NFC North potential playoff outcome, the ever-changing title? I'm glad you enjoyed it. Now it's my turn. I made this game because I wanted to play it. Haha. So now I'm going to tell you what I think is going to happen, which I have not prepared. So we're going to be doing this off the fly, which is totally fine. But I think the Packers are going to roll away with this division. Like I said, I think they got a good chance to just kind of stay ahead. They have that half game. It's going to kind of help them out. Bears have a tough schedule. The Lions, they have to play the Bears, so one of those two teams are going to lose at least one game that the Packers don't have to. And I think honestly, I think the Bears, I really like them. I think they can beat these teams. It's going to just come down to that game versus Detroit to see who finishes with a better record and the higher wild card spot. It's at Detroit. When the Lions first played the Bears, it was at Chicago and it was week 2, so it was nice weather. They didn't really get that advantage. The Lions get that again, so I think they might sweep the Bears, and then
yep. That's crazy.
So they would be, call it 11-5, or 11-6, excuse me, and then the Bears would be, let's just say 10-7. So I'm gonna assume they get in there. But they're going to run into the Packers for the third time in a month and a half. It's going to be crazy. I'm sticking to my guns. I love the Bears and what they're doing this year, but I'm sticking to my guns. This Packers team is where the Bears were. Or the Bears are where this Packers team was 2 years ago.
Yeah, I was going to. Yeah.
So I think the Packers are just ready, and they've got all the experience.
Give them a year. I'm telling you, like I said, give the Bears a year.
Yeah, and I think the Bears' ceiling is probably higher than the Packers, for the record. But projecting forward, just because of Caleb and Ben Johnson. But I think the Packers would win that one, and then you'd have the Lions. Actually, the Packers. Yeah, no, and then the Lions would play either the Eagles, who would win the NFC East, or the Buccaneers or Panthers, whoever wins that division, if they finish with a better record than the Eagles. They're only a game behind. Sounds crazy.
Yo, the fact that the Saints being the Bucks really screwed up that division.
Yeah, it really, really did. They're still lined up there, but they're tied with the Panthers. I say if the Lions end up playing the Eagles or the Buccaneers, they're going to win that game, and then they're going to go on to the divisional round to see the Packers, the Rams, and the Seahawks, and I think they're probably not. They're probably the worst team in that bunch. You can look at my top 10 list and just see that. So that's kind of how I envision the end of the NFC North. So, Danny, that was the last question I had for you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have anything else. We went an hour and 13 on episode 26 of the Illegal Formation podcast today for the Top 10 Tuesdays, Week 15 edition. Thank you all so much for watching. If you are still watching live, thank you so much, and be sure to drop a like because it boosts the video out to people like you who are going to want to watch this tomorrow and the next day and the next day and the next day. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel, The Pocket. Right now we're working on creating an Illegal Formation podcast channel, and then you can find that one dude Dan in the description to subscribe to his channel too. He's got a TikTok too, which you can find short form content of this podcast. And we're working on a Discord. We're working on a whole bunch of stuff, guys. We are biting off as much as we can chew, and we're struggling to chew it just because we're trying to do so much for you guys because we want this to be great. So stay tuned for continuous improvements and even better content just for you. Thank you all so much for watching. And Dan, take it away.
Appreciate you guys for showing up. Appreciate you guys for showing up, man. I'm telling you, we love this ish. We do it every single week. Keep it rolling. Keep going. Keep subscribing, liking, commenting, share with your friends, share with your papa, share with